Rain lashes the cemetery where Hazel Grace Lancaster stands before Augustus Waters' grave. Her wet hair clings to her face, but her trembling isn't from the cold. In her hand is a crumpled sheet, torn from his laptop, found yesterday among his belongings. "I couldn't tell you the truth, Hazel. You wouldn't have handled it," it reads in his neat but nervous handwriting. Her heart clenches with pain, anger, and betrayal. Augustus, her Augustus, the boy who promised her eternity within their numbered days, hid something. What? Why? She recalls his eyes, avoiding hers in recent weeks, his laugh, sounding too forced. Hazel grips the letter so tightly it tears. She doesn't cry, she burns. The cemetery is empty, only the wind howling between tombstones. She drops to her knees before the gravestone bearing his name. "You promised, Gus. Promise not to lie." Her voice shakes, but there's no weakness in it, only fury. She remembers their nights, lying side by side, sharing dreams of a future they didn't have. She trusted him with every thought, every tear. And he? What did he hide behind his smile? The letter in her hand is her only clue, but it offers no answers, just questions. Hazel stands, her jeans soaked with mud. She recalls how Augustus insisted she not enter his room in his final days. "I need some time, Hazel Grace," he said, and she believed him. Foolish. Naive. She thought he was just tired of hospitals, of pain. But now this letter, these words, cut her like glass. She walks to her car, clutching the sheet in her pocket. Her mind races. What was he hiding? His diagnosis? Something worse? She doesn't know, but she vows to find out. Driving home, Hazel pictures his face, laughing as they read an imperial affliction, holding her hand in Amsterdam. It all feels like a lie now. She turns on the radio but switches it off when their favorite song plays. Her fingers tremble on the wheel. She's not a victim, not the sick girl the world sees. She's Hazel Grace, and she'll uncover the truth, even if it breaks her heart. At home, Hazel sits at her desk, Augustus' laptop a silent reproach. She recalls how he changed in recent months. His jokes grew rare, he dodged talk of plans, often vanished for doctor's appointments. She thought it was the chemo, but now, after the letter, she doubts. She sifts through memories, each detail a knife. Once, he hid his phone when a message came, smiling too quickly to distract her. "Just spam," he said, but his fingers clutched the phone nervously. She remembers him insisting she not go to the hospital with him. "It's boring, Hazel Grace. Read Van Houten instead." She laughed, trusted him. But now these moments form a mosaic of betrayal. Why didn't he tell her the truth? Did he think her too weak? Her chest tightens with resentment. She's not weak. She survived cancer, his loss. She deserved to know. Hazel paces, her oxygen tank trailing like a reminder of her fragility. But she won't let it stop her. She recalls Augustus calling her strong, his heroine. So why did he lie? Her eyes fall on the laptop. There could be answers, emails, notes, anything. But what if the truth destroys her? She pushes fear aside. She's not the Hazel who hides from pain. She turns on the laptop, but the screen demands a password. Her fingers freeze. She doesn't know his passwords, but she knows Augustus. He loved symbolism, quotes, their shared moments. She tries, okay, their code word, but the screen flashes an error. Despair grips her, but she forces herself to think. She recalls their favorite book and types an imperial affliction. The screen unlocks. Hazel exhales, her heart racing. On the desktop is a folder labeled Letters. She clicks, revealing dozens of files, all named Hazel. Her throat tightens. She opens the first and reads, "I didn't want you to know." The words trail off. Each file is a fragmented draft, incomplete snippets. "Hazel, I can't tell you how," or "You deserve better than knowing," her fingers tremble as she scrolls. Each fragment is a blow, leaving more questions. Why did he write to her but never send? She opens a file dated a month before their Amsterdam trip. I knew I wouldn't make it to spring, but I couldn't break you. Hazel freezes. He knew. Then why take her to Van Houten? Why promise a future? Her eyes fill with tears, but she reads on. All the letters are apologies, but for what? She searches the laptop for something concrete. In the inbox folder, she finds emails from his doctor, dated 6 months before his death. The relapse is aggressive, Augustus. A year at most, the doctor writes. Hazel rereads the words, her breath ragged. He knew his fate before Amsterdam, before their starry nights, before every, I love you. Her fingers grip the desk, nails digging into her palms. He lied to her face, smiling, holding her hand. But why? She recalls him brushing off her questions about his health. Everything's fine, Hazel Grace, he said, and she believed. Her anger grows, but behind it, pain. He didn't trust her, didn't give her a chance to stand by him in truth. She feels betrayed, yet understands, he did it out of love. It doesn't lessen her fury. Hazel closes the laptop and brews tea, as she did with Augustus. She stares at the steam rising from the cup. These letters are just part of the puzzle. She'll find the rest, even if it means unearthing every memory. Hazel opens Augustus' Google Drive and finds a folder labeled Amsterdam. Inside are notes about their trip, tickets, schedules, a list of cafes. But between the lines, a fragment, I have to do this for her while I can. The trip wasn't spontaneous. He planned it, knowing it was his last chance to give her something unforgettable. She finds a draft email to Van Houten, I want Hazel to get answers. Even if I don't make it. Her fingers shake. He arranged the meeting with the author for her. But why not tell her? Why not share the burden? Hazel recalls him holding her hand on the plane, joking to ease her fears. It was all a mask. She doesn't know whether to hate him for the lie or love him more for the sacrifice. She grabs her phone and texts Isaac, his friend, did you know he was dying? Answer. Her fingers clutch the phone, awaiting a reply. Hazel meets Isaac at the cafe where she and Augustus drank hot chocolate. Her heart pounds as he sits, avoiding her gaze. He asked me to stay quiet, Hazel, Isaac says softly. She wants to scream but holds back. Why didn't you tell me? Her voice is sharp. Isaac sighs. He didn't want you living in anticipation of his death. He said you deserved joy, not pity. Hazel clenches her fists. Joy? He stole her chance to be there, to share his pain. Isaac explains how Augustus learned of the relapse weeks before their trip. He planned everything, Amsterdam, Van Houten, their starry nights. He wanted you to remember him alive, Isaac says. Hazel feels her heart tear. She recalls him laughing, dancing with her in the park, knowing his days were numbered. Her anger mixes with pain. He robbed her of the truth but gave her moments she'll never forget. She leaves the cafe, her breath visible in the cold air. She can't forgive Augustus, but she can't hate him either. Her thoughts turn to Van Houten. Augustus insisted on meeting him, but why? She recalls Van Houten disappointing them, yet Augustus seemed calm, as if he knew more. Hazel calls a travel agency. She's going to Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, rain pounds Hazel's umbrella as she stands before Van Houten's house. She rings the bell, fingers trembling with impatience. The writer opens the door, drunk, a bottle of whiskey in hand. What do you want? He mutters. Hazel tells him about Augustus' letters, his lies. She demands answers. Van Houten laughs, but his eyes avoid hers. He begged me to write you a letter so you wouldn't blame yourself, he says. Hazel freezes. A letter? What letter? She presses, and Van Houten confesses. Augustus sent emails, pleading for a letter to help Hazel move on after his death. He said you were strong but would break if you knew how little time he had. Hazel feels the air vanish from the room. She recalls their meeting with Van Houten, how Augustus sat quietly as the writer insulted them. He was there for her, for that letter. But Van Houten destroyed it. I don't write on demand, he snaps. Hazel screams that he destroyed the last thing Augustus wanted to give her. She runs from the house, tears mixing with rain. She stands by a canal, staring at the water. Augustus did everything to protect her, but left her with emptiness. She records a voice note, Augustus, I won't forgive your lie, but I'll understand you. Her voice shakes, but it's strong. She'll return home and piece together their story. Back home, Hazel opens their blog. His last post is a quote, pain demands to be felt. She clenches her fists. He felt pain but didn't let her share it. She scrolls through their photos, Augustus in the park, with a cigarette, laughing. But now she notices his pallor, shadows under his eyes, how he turned from the camera. She watches their videos. In one, Augustus sings a silly song, but his voice trembles, and he shuts off the camera. She sees his hand grip the table. He was sick, he knew, but smiled for her. She checks their texts. In the month before his death, his messages were short, avoiding words like forever. In a video of them reading an imperial affliction, he pauses at, you don't get to choose if you get hurt, but you choose who hurts you. Hazel freezes. He chose her pain, hid it behind a smile. Her anger flares, but understanding follows. He lied to protect her, so she could live, not wait for his death. Hazel grabs a notebook and writes, Augustus, you had no right to decide for me. Her hand shakes, but she continues. She'll write her story, not his. Her tears fall on the paper, but she doesn't stop. Hazel sits on her floor, surrounded by letters, photos, notes. In one photo, Augustus stands by a river, his smile forced. In another, in the hospital, he turns from the camera. She can't forgive his lie, but every memory reminds her why she loved him. She reads blog comments. Someone writes, you and Augustus taught me to live despite cancer. Hazel presses her lips together. He wanted her to live, but why not let her be with him until the end? She takes his laptop and writes, this isn't for you, Gus. It's for me. Her fingers fly, pouring out anger, love, despair. She writes about their nights, Amsterdam, his lie. She admits, his lie was an act of love, but she deserved the truth. Her words are her release. She rereads, and her heart lightens. She can't change the past, but she can change how it defines her. She recalls Augustus calling her his heroine. You were wrong, Gus. I'm not a heroine. I'm just Hazel, and that's enough. She smiles for the first time in weeks. Her pain hasn't vanished, but it no longer chokes her. She watches a video of them laughing at a bad movie. Augustus hides his face, but his laugh is genuine. Hazel touches the screen. She doesn't hate him. She loves him, but she loves herself too. Her letter is a beginning. She clicks publish. Her post garners thousands of views. Comments flood in, people thank her, share their pain. Hazel is no longer a victim, not a sick girl pitted. She writes their story, real, with lies, pain, and love. She describes his smile, his fear, his sacrifice. She writes about her anger, but also how his lie taught her to be honest. Her words are an act of self-love. She walks to the park where they strolled, breathing cold air. Strength isn't hiding pain, but facing it. She calls Isaac, asking him to read her text. It's not just about us and Gus, she says. It's about everyone afraid of the truth. Isaac replies, he'd be proud of you. Hazel smiles. She doesn't need his pride. She needs herself. She looks at Augustus' photo. She sees a boy who loved her but erred, thinking she couldn't handle the truth. Her story is her start as someone who chooses herself. She sleeps without tears. Hazel no longer runs from pain. She walks through it, and it sets her free. Hazel stands before Augustus' grave, holding a printed copy of her story. The post went viral, read by thousands. She's not avenging Augustus, she's avenging a world that forces people to hide the truth. Her words are a weapon to change the rules. She places the story on the grave, her fingers brushing the stone. You gave me eternity, Gus. But I choose mine. Her voice is firm. She returns home, her inbox overflowing with letters from readers. A girl with leukemia writes that she dared tell her family her fears. A boy who lost a friend thanks her for courage. Hazel smiles. Her revenge is creation. She showed the world that truth, even painful, heals. She writes a new post. We don't choose our pain, but we choose how to carry it. She thinks of Augustus, his lie. He wanted to protect her, but she doesn't need protection. She adds, thanks, Gus, for everything. But now it's my turn. Hazel steps outside, oxygen tank in tow. She looks at the stars they called theirs. Her heart beats steadily, her breath calm. Her story inspired others, but most importantly, it inspired her. She walks home, steps confident. Hazel Grace Lancaster didn't just survive. She chose to live, and that's her greatest victory.